I was checking my colonies. It's getting pretty hot today, so I'm about to go in, and I'm running out of room in all these colonies. I need to put boxes on them, but I got one swarming right now. It hasn't landed, so I don't know where it's going to be at, but it's narrowing down right in this area, right next to my apiary. There's a lot of bees in the air, so I believe they're gonna land right in here somewhere. I think I can see them right there in the middle. Right in there. I could hear the swarm in the air from probably 100 feet away. I'll give them some time to settle down and see how big this swarm looks, and then I'll decide if I'm going to go after it or not. I've got enough colonies that they're getting away from me. Well, this is either swarm 6 or 7, somewhere in there. I'll give them a while and see how big this swarm looks. And now it's shrinking a little. So what that suggests is maybe the queen is not in there. Maybe she landed there for a moment and left again, and they can still smell her. But at the same time, there's something going on down here at one of my, well, I'm going to take that back, 2 of my colonies. I think I have 2 swarms happening at the same time. So they're still in the air, coming out somewhere. So this colony here looks suspicious, but I don't think that's the one that swarmed. This one here I know swarmed because I was just in that one, and it's got several capped swarm cells and very few bees, so I'm almost positive that one is at least one of them that swarmed. And this I'm not too sure about. I think that swarm is coming back here to land on this colony. And this is a strong colony, but it was not swarmy. I just went through this one. It was packed out. I took a couple brood frames from it, but no swarm cells. And the amount of bees in the air slowly clustering on this tells me that these bees on the outside of this box don't belong in this box. That swarm landed here, and it's going to try to go in, and they're not going to get a welcoming party, a friendly welcoming party anyway. Probably the queen is still on the outside of the box. So there's probably 3 or 4 pounds of bees right here on the outside of the box so far, and they're just thick in the air still. So I'm not sure if I want to intervene and try to save at least one of these queens, because nature will narrow it down to one queen anyway. If she tries to go in this box, one of the queens is going to get killed. But there's going to be a big fight going on, which I guess is probably already happening. It's going to be pretty difficult to go through these bees and find the queen. She could be just hanging on the bottom here. I might try to look a little bit, but even if I find her, I'm really running out of room. So theoretically, if I caught that and treated it as any other swarm, I really don't have homes for all of them. There's a lot of bees here. So this box was already packed out, and this swarm's trying to move into this box. So there's not room for all of them anyway. I really need to... I could just pull this top box off of that bottom board and set another box in its place. They've mostly settled down now, and there's a lot of bees here. I'm gonna try to save this swarm, and I think if I can find the queen in this swarm, I'll put the queen back where she came from, or at least I'll reestablish her own colony. She came from this box here, and the swarm's trying to land and go back into this box. So if I can save that queen and save the queen that's inside this box, that's my plan. So I'll let you know how that goes in a minute. Okay, the swarm's underneath that colony, and it came from this box. So it's got a lot of, it's pretty heavy. It's probably 50 to 60 pounds. It's got a lot of honey in it. It's got a lot of brood in it. It's got capped swarm cells, but not so many bees. So I knew right away earlier today that it had swarmed, and that's whenever I noticed the swarm in the air over there. It landed in the branch. I was going to give it some time to settle down, but before it settled, it moved back to the bottom side of this box. So what I plan to do is set this box off, set it over onto the ground. There's no queen in it, and I'm going to take that box off of its, well, yeah, I'll take that box off of its bottom board and set it on this bottom board, and what that will do is preserve that queen that's inside this box. She's at risk right now. If the queen from the swarm walks inside there, one of them will die at least, if not both. So I'll set her over here, and then I can set this box over there, which will be queenless at the time, but at least that swarm will have a queenless colony to walk into. After I transfer these boxes around, I'll locate the queens, make sure both boxes have their queen, and these swarm cells that are inside this box at the moment are going to be over there, but after I make sure I have two queens, I'll go through and get rid of any swarm cells. it's too late in the year to hatch out virgin queens and get them mated. I'm just running out of room to prevent swarms. I've only went through 4 boxes today and got up to this point, and it's getting too hot. I was gonna go inside and cool off, but swarms happen. So I'll get back with you and show you what I do next. Okay, I set this box off of its bottom board here on the ground on its inner cover. It's tipped up so we can see the bottom of the frames. So I'll smoke the bees off and we'll look for swarm cells, which I've already found them earlier. So there's some swarm cells in here. It's just hard to see them. It's irrelevant at the moment. I'm gonna get rid of any swarm cells I can find after the fact, but this is what I saw earlier, and there's not very many bees left in this box. I mean, there's enough to keep it going after it hatches out a new queen, but it's obvious that they'd swarmed because it was packed before this. So now I'm going to move that box over to this bottom board, and I'm hoping that I can get to that before that queen under the bottom board walks into the box. So that's what I'll do next. I'll move that box over and try not to disturb that swarm. I want it to stay right where it's at. Okay, I've picked that box up and moved it over. They're in a new location, so their foragers coming back are going to come back and join up with this swarm. But so long as that queen is saved, and there's only one in there at the moment, that's the main goal, is to save her. And now I'll set this box over here. I don't know if I'll do that just yet or not. I'd kind of like to look around for the queen under this. There's a good chance that she'll just pick up and fly, and it'll be obvious if that happens. This whole swarm will go back in the air again, and this whole process will be wasted if that happens. But I'll look around a little bit for that queen, and it's a pretty safe bet to set that box on there and let her walk in on her own. But let me look around for that queen a little bit and get back with you. Alright, I switched those 2 boxes with each other. This is the box that had the swarm hanging off the bottom of it, and there was a queen inside the box and the swarm hanging off the bottom of the bottom board. So to save the queen, I moved her onto this bottom board. I just took her whole box and moved her over to that bottom board. That should keep her safe. And I took the old, that's the box that was sitting on that bottom board. So I picked through the frames and found 6 or 8 of them that I was confident that didn't have swarm cells and weren't too full of resources, and put them inside of this box here. And the swarm hanging off the bottom, I transferred into that box, and the queen was in there. I saw her for sure, but she was getting balled up, and the foragers that belong in this location. The foragers coming home, they were balling up that queen. Just a moment. There's a bee bothering me. I'm wearing shorts and sandals. I got hot and went inside and showered. So anyway, the foragers coming home that belong in that box, they were met with that swarm, and they were balling up that queen. So I transferred her into that box, and the swarm followed her, but they're going to have to sort things out for a while. Hopefully they don't kill that queen. I didn't thoroughly look for this queen again. I saw her earlier today while she was in that location. I think she's okay. The bees inside the box will protect her, and she still has her nurse bees with her. So the next few days I'll look and see how these bees are doing, make sure they still have a mated queen. That swarm that is moving into that box is all over the place, all over these two. I can't zoom with this front facing camera, but there's a lot of bees all over both of those boxes. Hopefully they sort things out. So I'll give them another day or two, and I'll go back in there and make sure that they're queen right. This box that the swarm went into is still missing one frame, so they might start to make a mess off the inner cover. So I got to go in there in the next day or two. I just don't want to do it today because I might roll a queen. There's a lot of bees in that box, a lot of bees on the outside of the box. There's too many bees to mess with them right now. It looks like there's enough bees to start a new colony, in fact, on the outside. So I might give you an update in the next day or two whenever I go in there and make sure she's laying eggs. And I also got to go in there and make sure that queen is still in there. I think she is. So it's too hot to be messing with bees today, but when swarms happen, you don't have much choice. You either save the swarm or you lose bees. And I hate to lose bees. You know, I've got a lot of bees, but all right, I'll let you know what I find in the next couple days.